change is an essential part of life. Like, we can't stay babies forever. We can't stay toddlers forever. We've got to change. We've got to grow. We've got to evolve. So change is just a part of evolving and growing. And anyway, welcome back to my channel. I'm Elle. So you're watching Ethereal and I'm Elle. And this is a platform for motivational content, manifestation, self-help, self-betterment and empowerment and self-love. That's like the most important one right there, because the building blocks to all success is self-love. So thanks for joining me again, and I'm excited about this video today because I'm such a control freak. Something I'm working on is letting go of things I cannot control and letting change happen and not fearing change too much. So I thought, what better way to reinforce that into my brain than to make a video speaking about it for you guys. So that's what we're doing here today. We're talking about why change is essential and how without change we're gonna stay stuck our whole life. So let's get into it. So the fear of change comes from the fear of losing control and our habits that we've formed, our routines that we've formed being thrown off, our emotions that are regulated normally being upside down. Like, I even get anxious about happy change or good change. And a lot of us do, I think. Like, so dependent upon my routine and my day going a certain way and planning everything and everything being perfect because I know my day is going to be good. I know my emotions are going to be regulated around that. And I know there's a lot more like easygoing people, like people who can just pick up and leave and disappear and backpack the world. But change affects us all. Like, change is also something that has to happen, but it's so important that we all can prepare for change and we know how to get around things that change and how to regulate our emotions and ourselves around change, because it's inevitable. We don't actually fear the change itself, but the actual concept of change. Just think about that for a minute. Like, when things happen, it doesn't actually tend to be the change that we fear. It's the actual concept of everything changing around us. Like, when we leave a job because we no longer want to be there and we want to go to a better job, we've been offered a better job, we still have this immense fear of change. And it's just because we're going to be seeing different people every day, different emotions in different environments. Maybe you get a different bus to work or a different motorway, or it's that concept of it being different and new and the unknown that actually fears us, not the new job, because you applied for that new job, you went and got that new job, and you chose to leave that old job. So when I thought about it this way, I was like, okay, yeah, it is. It's the fear of not being in control. It's the fear of not quite knowing that's scary, not the actual concept of what it is. Like, say this job, these are just examples by the way, offered you more money. You're not scared of going somewhere that you're going to get more money. Say it's in like a nicer building. You're not scared of going somewhere that is nicer than your old job. And say the people there were nicer. You're not scared of being around nicer people. What you are scared of is not actually knowing who the people are, what they look like, not knowing what your office looks like, what the building looks like, not knowing what clientele you're going to encounter. And there's two things about change and how we can deal with it. There's things we can control and things that we cannot control. So we're going to talk about the things that we cannot control a little bit later on. Right now, we're going to talk about things that we can control. Your perception around change can be good or it can be bad. There is people who wake up in the morning and they like to literally live a life not knowing where they're going, who's they're going to encounter, who's going to be around them, and they like live and thrive off that change. Like, that's great for them. I wish I could be one of those people, but if you're like me and you get scared of your habits and everything being a bit topsy-turvy, then that's okay. How we need to deal with situations when we have such set routines and set habits is when change happens, we need to look around the change and look at the factors that we can control. What we can control, not focusing on what we cannot control, because that is out of our hands. That is going to happen to us by the power of God, the universe, or other people, whatever you believe in. We need to focus upon the things we can control. And when we look on the things we can control, we begin to take back our power. What can we control about a situation? Our feelings around it and our emotions and our actions. The only things we actually truly can control is ourselves, our perception, what we do. We cannot control what other people think, no matter how much we try. We cannot control other people. If we all took back our accountability and our own power, we only are responsible for ourselves. And our children, obviously. But so let's use the same example that we did before about going to a new job. What can we control about this fear? We are petrified for our first day. What can we control? Maybe we could email or reach out to the boss and let them know, hey, I'm a little anxious, I'm a bit scared, could I come in to meet you all? Okay, so I could meet up with my colleagues beforehand, I could meet up with my boss beforehand, I could do a practice run to get to work to make sure I know when to get on time. So this new job situation is just its own example, but can you see the concept of what I am doing there? I've not got all this bunch of change all at once. What you are doing is breaking down all the things that make you anxious and separating them. And when they're separated to their own little points on their own, the change seems a little less scary because it's gone from a big change to now little blocks of change that we manage. So that's your first tip. Break down the scenario, break down the situation, pull out little pieces of, okay, what can I do? Maybe you absolutely love your colleagues, maybe your office is way bigger than you thought, maybe you get there well early on time so you can actually start off a bit later. Maybe this change is going to be so positive for you that you're overwhelmed with like excitement and joy now. Don't throw away things because it's a change for you. Don't just ignore things because it seems scary. Okay, number 2, this follows on what we cannot control. Okay, so we can't control it, we can't change it, it's gonna happen to us. So the only other option that we do have is letting go and moving on past it. Okay, so that's what we're gonna talk about now. What can we not control? Other people's emotions, other people's opinions, other people's feelings, so anything or actions, anything to do with other people. We cannot control other people, only ourselves. We cannot control the weather, if tragedies, death, those kind of things, and they have their own processes altogether. So obviously death is a massive thing and there's grief around that. And I know these little quick fixes that I'm talking about aren't just going to change the things that happen. That's not what I'm trying to do by all means. I'm trying to change your perception on the viewpoint of change so that you can deal and process them problems a little bit easier. Those are the things that we cannot change. If we just broke the things we can't change into what we can. For example, use the YouTube analogy. So say I'm starting up my YouTube channel like I am right now, and I've got really unsupportive people around me, I haven't, but who are saying, you'll never make it at YouTube, it's a waste of time, why are you doing that, blah 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 blah. If I believed what they were saying and listened to it, then I would be missing out on something that I truly want to do. So I cannot change their opinion, but I can change my perception of their opinion. I can change what I believe about their opinion. And me not believing their negative opinions means I can move forward and move past it and leave them and their negative opinions here. See ya. We can't change the bad thing that's happened to us, but we can change how we perceive it and how we act upon it and how we try and process that. So that is the point of things that we cannot control. We have to let it go and find the points that we can control. We have to find the bits that are negative and try and turn them into a positive, because essentially it's our perception that counts. It's our perception that is responsible for our feelings and emotions. So if we can make that a little bit more positive or even funny, like we could even make that like a little funny, like, oh, trust this to happen to me, but it's okay, I'm gonna get through it because I choose to get through it. My perception is that we're gonna make this a positive experience and let's move on from it. So things that you cannot control, they are the things that you can do around that, because your perception truly is the only thing that actually matters to yourself. But for things that you cannot control, just find the factors around it that you can and make sure that your perception is a happier perception. It's glass half full rather than glass half empty. 4. Wanting to evolve and change. So this point that I'm talking about here is how we know what we want to do at heart. So if we want to evolve or outgrow something or change from something, that's on us and nobody else. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You've got to do what's best for you. So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I became a makeup artist, and I started out makeup in a time where it wasn't like cool, and like I got bullied for it because I was only 17 at the time. I was fully booked every weekend, and I decided to leave university to pursue that, and I loved it and I was thriving and I did so good. And then one day I was like, I don't want to do makeup anymore. And oh my god, like I still get comments today like, oh, would you do my makeup please, will you do it? And I'm so sorry guys, but I just don't want to do it anymore, and that's okay. I decided to just evolve and change, and everyone was like to me, what are you doing? Like, you're gonna just start a whole new business when the one you're doing is like good and you've got good skills and you're fully booked? And I was like, yep, I am. I'm gonna up and change because I want to. Because the problem is, if I stayed there just to please others, I'd end up burning myself out. My creativity won't be at its top notch. I won't be delivering clients like 100% service because I weren't interested in it. So it does actually impact others as well. Even though they want me to stay at it, I didn't stay at it because it was about me. It's about me evolving and me changing, and that is okay. And then I then started up a shoes business. I've done many businesses, and you know what? They've all served me and I've all learned something, which is another point that I want to get onto. I started up a customs business that I ended up getting so booked within 6 weeks of starting. I had to take on another employee. I ended that one day because, again, my creative juices just was not there. And then I started a clothing company, which it was a dream I'd wanted to do, but it took me so long to get into it that I was like, ugh. And I compared myself a lot to other people, and I didn't put my full effort into it, so I quit it. And guess what I did? I started up YouTube and started creating motivational content because this is something that I've always truly wanted to do. I've truly loved it my whole life. Like, motivational content such as this has saved me so many times from the brink of very deep dark places that I feel like I owe my life to people who create content like this. But content on YouTube like this and on Instagram, where I was scrolling and feeling depressed and comparing myself to others, and then little breaks of motivational content came up, and I was like, I want to be that person. But guess what? I was so scared of what people would think about me, and evolving and changing again on my 4th business idea. I'm scared of what people would think, that I put it off for so long. So my moral of the story, essentially, I'm actually getting to it now, is if you want to evolve and change, you've got to do it because you want to do it. You've got to do it because it's right for you and because you feel authentic in that place. And it's okay to change. It's okay to change business ideas or jobs every week if you want it. Every damn week if you want it. Things can happen to us and we can fear it, but we can also want to be the ones that want to make the change, but we're scared of what people are going to say or think. But every time we change something or we make a decision, we evolve and we grow. But I was so scared to evolve and change and tell everybody that I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I'm going to start talking motivational content, and I'm going to start talking about manifestation and all these crazy things. I was so scared. But why? Why was I scared? The only person that damaged was me, myself, and I. So what I'm saying is, if you want to change what you do 10 times over, if you want to change your house 1,000 times, if you want to change your makeup style 1,000,000 times, if you want to change your music taste 1,000 times, if you keep dating different people and having different relationships because you just don't feel happy, that is okay. Change is okay. We have to evolve, we have to grow, and that takes change. So just please remember that every time you make that change, as long as it's for you and what you want and you're authentic, it's just another step in life's journey where we're going to learn something, we're going to get experience from something, we're going to meet beautiful people along the way. Like, no experience is a wasted experience. Just remember that. So a little analogy of somebody who wouldn't have succeeded unless they changed their business 1,000,000 times. And so the other day I was watching The Founder, which is the story of Ray Kroc, who franchised and owned McDonald's. Do you know what Ray Kroc did before McDonald's? About 1 million different odd jobs, about 1 million different salesman's pitches for folder nooks and mixers, and he tried to open this business and that business and this failed. The main subject is like him being rejected and rejected and rejected and rejected and rejected for so many business ideas, and his friends taking the mick out of him because, oh, it's another one of Ray's ideas. If he had never done all of those, he would never have found McDonald's, because it was one of the products that he was selling that he sold to the McDonald's brothers, is how he met the McDonald's brothers and how he eventually took over McDonald's. So just keep going where you're at. Like, you are on this journey for a reason. You are doing all these different paths for a reason. No, like, yes, some people wake up and decide I want to be this and they stick to it their whole lives, but then on the other hand, there's people who have all sorts of different careers. There's people who start businesses way into their 60s. Like Samuel L. Jackson was well into his 40s when he started acting. It's about knowing what we want and not being scared to change things, outgrow things, move things in different directions, because we know that it's going to be for our greater good. So don't be scared. If there's a change you want to make and there's something you want to do, go and do it. Just start. That is truly the hardest bit. Making the change and just going for it. Like I mentioned before, like the hardest thing was just quitting all them businesses and the things that would work for me to say I want to do YouTube and be a motivational speaker. And now I'm so fulfilled from within. Like, I could not care what people say, and all I ever truly think is, oh my god, Elliot, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful that you decided to just do it. Like, I am so grateful to myself that I just had the courage and the confidence to start, because once I started, ideas started flowing to me. I weren't feeling so stagnant and stuck anymore. Inspiration found me because I'd started and took the hardest step and really deep delved into the world of self-help and motivation. I'll be walking down the street and video ideas pop into my head, or I'm sat in the bath and like I get all these ideas and I'm like, oh, I need to write all this down. Because starting is the hardest part. Once you start, you find all the things that you need. You find the motivation, you find the community, you find your clients, and it begins to grow. So in its simplest form, just start. Changing your thought pattern and your habits is the hardest part. Once you've like decided upon what it is you want to do, what new habit you want to form, whether you want to be a morning person or you want to go to the gym, deciding is the hardest part. Just start. As soon as that habit starts to form and you start to reap the rewards and you start to enjoy it and you start to get a bit more confidence, things just start to flow. So essentially, like, a lot of us tend to like sit and think about things for so long that we put ourselves off the idea. Like, just start now. It doesn't have to be perfect. It isn't going to be perfect, but isn't that the beautiful thing of the journey, the growth, looking back at how far we've come and going, Jesus, I'm so glad I started when I did, because I never got to here if I hadn't. Just start as a novice, start alone, start with no support, start with no money, start with no idea, just find a way to do it. Just start. And you will thank yourself later, because starting is truly the hardest bit, and once you're onto what you are doing, it gets easier and easier. Change of mindset is actually harder than the change that you are trying to implement. So the actual idea of change, the thought of change, the change in our habits, the change in our routines, and the change in our mindset is actually the hardest bit. And when you remember that, it takes the power away from change itself. I just wanted to reinforce to myself and to anyone that's watching that change is inevitable. For one, there'll be things that happen to you that you can't control, but you can look for the things that you can control. And then on the other hand, that's change happening to us, but we can also be the enforcers of change. Yeah, we can make that change for ourselves for the better. And we shouldn't fear what other people think. We shouldn't fear change itself. The big word change is actually scarier than the change that is going to happen. But I feel so inspired after speaking on this subject. I feel motivated more than ever now to hit it with my YouTube channel and keep going, because I know this is for me and I'm excited for the change and I'm prepared for any change that comes my way, any setbacks. I'm going to look at the setbacks and things that happen and think, what can I do about this, rather than focusing on the things that I cannot control. And I urge you guys to do the same things. leave anything that no longer serves you, and anything that does happen to you, just pick out the things that you can make positive and that you can respond to. So have a nice day, evening, whenever you're watching this night. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elle at Ethereal, and please drop a comment or a like or a share or anything, or share this to somebody who needs this, somebody who maybe is going through a big change. Comment any videos you want below around self-empowerment, self-love, confidence, self-help, motivation, manifestation. They're all my little realm of positivity and joy, and I do this from a place of being a person that once was such a negative Nelly. So these videos serve me just as much as they serve you guys. So keep commenting anything below that you need help with, that you want me to do a video on, and I hope you have the most amazing day, life, year, whatever. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!